So let's get straight in with tying this really simple weighted shrimp pattern. Going to come straight in, no thread at the moment. We're going to come straight at the back with some lead strips, and we're going to work our way up in roughly touching turns. I'm going to pull hard and break that off at the back. Just give it a little push to make sure it's nice and tight to the hook. I'm going to go for one more turn here and pull and break off. Not going right to the eye and not going as far back down the hook as the fly. I need some room to tie in stuff either end and not create a funky taper. So now I'm going to come straight in, as always, Semperfly Nano Silk, and I'm going to come straight in with that. And I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to hold the tag sideways and catch it in all the way down. Until I'm down here. I'm going to come straight in and trim that off. Now just turn your fly, come down a little bit further, and just check where we're at. The lead's now not moving, which is perfect. That's what we're after. And we're ready to tie in the shell back. Now the shell back I'm using is this funky shrimp back in orange. There is so many different colours, different companies that do the same stuff. Choose one you fancy. I'm just showing you a nice, what I like is a nice natural looking shrimp. For my rivers, so that's what I'm going to tie, and I'm going to tie that in at the back there. Good number of wraps because it's funky stuff. Hey. And the last thing you want to do is pull over and pull it straight out your wraps. So we're going to tie that in. On top of that now, we're going to come in with some copper rib, which you should have had out and already prepared. But I don't. Background stuff at this YouTube channel's terrible, I tell you. Right, and we're going to tie that in right down here at the back. And we're just going to pull it down so we're all tied in at the back. Just make sure this stays central. You can sort of tug it and play with it, but you don't want it to go off to one side, either side, as you pull it over, otherwise it all messes up. And you'll end up with sort of like the shell coming over the side. So just make sure, just by stretching it and just moving it, that it comes right over the top. Now as we get here, we need to wax the thread. And try not to send the vise flying in the process. And we're going to start dubbing the thread. I'm going to show you the packet of dubbing I'm using now. I love this dubbing actually. It's the Kindale rainbow hair and squirrel dubbing. It just makes a great buggy looking shrimp. And with the extra UV colours in it, that makes the rainbow name. Looks really nice. I really like it. No endorsements here, folks. It's just I like it. And we're going to start by wrapping right down the bottom with a relatively thin amount of dubbing. Don't go too heavy down the bottom or you'll create a big bulbous lump. We're going to go a little bit thicker at the top here. That creates our shrimp taper. They're always a bit chunky in the middle. So that's what we're going to create there. If you don't put it all on in once, that's no problem. Just keep adding it as you go. but we're going to try and create a nice tapered. See how that would have been too thick to add back in there? So I'm just going to thin that out until I come right in. Just thin that out some more. Trying to make sure I cover those last lead wraps with some dubbing. Don't want to crowd the eye out too much, so I'll just pull that back a bit. Doesn't matter if there's small bits of lead wire showing through, we'll sort that out in a moment. Priority now is that we pull this shell back over and we pull. If you don't tie it in nice and tight, it has a habit of sliding off and going absolutely everywhere whenever it fancies. So we're going to pull it nice and tight. We're going to make sure it's central right over the back and it's not slipping off. And to keep that tension, I'm going to pull, and I'm putting a load of pressure here on the thread. Nano silk, I can get away with it. So I can really cinch that down as I've done there. If I'm happy with that, I'll give it a good stretch and snip it off. Just means you don't have a little bump of waste material at the front. And then from here, we're going to start ribbing. Remember, it is a shrimp, and they have far more ribs on them than, say, a caddis or a mayfly. So we're going to come through with a good number of ribs as we go through the fly. And then we're going to tie off at the head here. Like so. From there, we're just going to break that off. And we're going to put a few more wraps here and just create a nice little black head at the top of the fly. Before coming in with a whip finish tool. Now remember, don't forget your whip finish is part of the head, so sometimes you can just come in and create a nice formed head with your whip finishes. Just like that. And trim that off. That's your fly tied, but we're not finished yet. From here now, you can grab a little dubbing tool, bodkin needle if you like. All I use is a piece of old Velcro. And I'm just going to come underneath now, and I'm going to just rough up that dubbing, tease it out the fly. Make sure I'm getting right down the bottom, teasing it out. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get this lovely buggy leg effect from the fly, which is just what I'm after. I'm going to come in with the scissors, and then any just stray bits here. Sometimes you get bits trapped into the rib. I'm just going to come around. See that? That one there. Pull that out. Tease all that out until I've got something looking relatively uniform that I'm happy with. Now from here, just to finish off, I mean there's nothing stopping you just fishing that really, but to finish off, come in with either a resin or a varnish. I'm going to use varnish, which is some very old cheap nail varnish, and the reason I'm going to use this instead of the resins that I've got is just to prove to you that you don't always need the really good resin kits to make flies like this, and just a simple brushing of varnish over the top. Will do just fine. I'm going to come in, I'm not quite finished yet, I'm going to come in now, put some of the varnish onto a bodkin needle, and just put a dab on the thread underneath as well. Try and trying not to mank up all the dubbing, but you know, this is Adam. We don't always manage it, folks. We don't always manage it. But yeah, I'm going to come in like that there. And that's my finished fly now. That bit of varnish over the back just helps to keep that rib in place, a little bit more durability in the fly, and it helps to bring out the shine in that shell back in the water. So, hope you enjoyed that one. It's a really super simple shrimp pattern. Have a play about with the colours. As long as you've got a nice buggy dubbing you can pull out and a shell back over there, you'll create the right profile and form. With the lead wraps, you can add more as you go in the middle to create a bigger tape in the middle. I just did a single layer all the way through just for ease to show you how simple you can actually tie some of these up and get fishing with them. So, hope you enjoy that one. Hope you tie a few up and hope to catch you some fish.